Happy Monday afternoon, everyone. Almost evening. It's been a while since I've chatted with you. A lot has certainly been going on for me since August 23rd. I am speaking to you from Zachary's new apartment. He moved in September 4th because he's working about a half hour from here, which is 2 hours from Raleigh. I'm here because I had my cardiac ablation last Wednesday, and he just wanted me to kind of be here and having nothing to do. Whereas if I were home, I would be trying to be helpful and maybe lifting people and things that I shouldn't be lifting so soon after the procedure. What I'm going to do is try to go back to my last vlog and tie up some loose ends, give you some additional information about what's been happening since then. I mentioned my ablation, which if you are a Facebook friend, you read my plea for prayers and good thoughts last week, and I appreciate all that you sent my way. Let me first show you. There's still a little bit of sticky, but that little dot right there, that is the monitor. The monitor did its job. I had it implanted on August 23rd, and 10 days later, I heard from my cardiologist that there was some concerning data that he received. I had been in AFib for 41 hours, August 30th to September 1st. I had been in AFib 39% of the time since it was implanted. And on September 4th at 6 a.m., my heart stopped beating for 6 seconds. We have a pacemaker in our hearts naturally. And I guess I had been in AFib, and it took the pacemaker 6 seconds to get me back into normal rhythm. That in itself is not really cause for concern, because the doctor explained that it always will kick back in, but as time passes, it can take longer and longer to do so. And that during those periods, I could pass out. And obviously, depending what I'm doing, that could be dangerous. 6 a.m. on the 4th, I think I probably was still asleep, or maybe just waking up because I felt the AFib. That's usually when it gets me. We talked about options for me, which there really weren't any aside from the ablation. I know that I had an ablation a couple years ago, and I said I would never have another one, and I certainly would not have this doctor again. But here I am. He explained the need for it. He explained what he would do. It's kind of a progression that, if this happens, we do this. If this doesn't work, we do that. If that doesn't work, we do something else. And so my progression was another ablation. He went and, what shall I say, created scar tissue around the veins that the circuits were coming through that caused the AFib. And he was very pleased after the procedure. He said that he tried to create AFib in my heart, and it wasn't getting anywhere. It didn't work anymore. So I'm not going to feel the full effects of the ablation. It could be, I think, 6 weeks to 3 months or something. I'm a little foggy on that. I've had some pain and things like that, but I'm sure it will either pass, or it's really stuff that I felt even before the procedure. So maybe those are just the kind of things that we're not going to improve. The ablation affects the upper chambers of the heart, and I have a new heart failure specialist who ordered labs, and one of the values was significantly higher than it had been previously. Like a couple years ago, I think the value was like 157, and the day that I saw the cardiologist and had the labs done, it was 844. I can't remember the initials. I think it's like H, HP, Pro, BNP, or something like that. It's, I believe, a hormone that the heart produces, and it's an indicator of heart failure. So 844, no, it's not as high as it could go. I don't misunderstand. I am very grateful for the way I feel things and the numbers that I have, because I do know that it could be worse. But for me, that number is worse than the previous number was, and so I feel like we need to deal with that. The doctor suggested Lipitor for cholesterol, increasing my diuretic, which was just recently decreased, and an iron infusion. I'm going Saturday for the iron infusion. The other two things I've thought about their side effects. I did try the diuretic. I doubled it 2 days in a row, and I had cramping and Charlie horses and things like that. So I sent him my chart message, and I just said, I'm not going to do these other things. I think we really need to think about this. We need to think about, all of me, because some of these things could affect my ostomy, and I can say truly that has functioned very well for 46 years, and I don't want to do anything to mess with that. So the ablation was a success, and we'll see how I feel as time goes on, and I'll figure out what we're going to do about that number that affects the lower heart chambers. I was kind of disappointed because I thought, the mess of my heart was just on the top, but apparently my whole heart is just kind of in sad shape. So I'm going to work on that. What else did I want to tell you about? Crying. It really sounded pitiful during my last vlog when I said, I cry all the time. Like, oh gee, I don't want to listen to her anymore. This is terrible. I think it needs to be said that I cry for many reasons. I cry from sadness. I cry from pride. I cry from happiness. I cry for other people. I cry for things I read. I cry for things I see. And I laugh until I cry. I think that's a big one. Zachary has the ability to make me laugh until I cry. There are different instances in life that I can think of where I laughed until I cried. Years ago, I went to see Paul Blart Mall Cop. And I know you're making fun, like, oh my gosh, I know it's a cornball movie, but I thought it was funny. And I was with my friend Joanne. I don't remember what was happening on the screen, but we were both laughing. And I'm sure the movie moment had ended, but I looked over at her and she was just laughing so hard. And then my laughing just started right back up. And I know I laughed until I cried. Or there was a time when I was in California with my friend Elaine and we were getting pedicures. And, I'm ticklish. I think she is too. And usually, I can control myself when I'm getting a pedicure. But for some reason, I think she started laughing. And I started laughing with her. And I couldn't stop. I looked away. I tried to get other thoughts in my head, but it just wasn't meant to be. So that was another moment I laughed until I cried. And the most recent one, oh my gosh, I was in Walmart, and an acquaintance of the family, let's just put it that way, sent a very personal message to one of my children about something that he was dealing with in the hospital. And I was not laughing at his malady. I was not making fun of his problem. But to me, it was just the idea that he would send something so very, very personal to somebody that he didn't know really well. I don't know, it just gave me the giggles, and I laughed until I cried. I finally settled down. I was with Stephanie, and when we left, I don't know if she called Julianne or who she called to talk about this, but just bringing it up again, I couldn't stop laughing. I know if I think about it now, or if I go back and read the message, I know the same thing will happen. So, yeah, I cry, but I cry for a multitude of reasons. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that nobody would ever look at me and say, "You laugh too much. You shouldn't laugh." And I don't think anybody should say, "Oh, you cry too much. You shouldn't cry." Because they're both expressions of feelings. There's nothing bad. I mean, at one point I was told that crying is soft. It makes you soft. And I think that's baloney, because I think sometimes to be vulnerable and to cry and let other people see that, I think that takes strength. So, yeah, I needed to qualify my statement that I cry a lot. It's not nearly as bad or depressing as it seems. Um, oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about transparency, because I try always to be honest with you, and I would let you see me laugh. I would let you see me cry. I let you see me without makeup. I let you see me, with brand new scars and things like that. That's just how I am and who I am. I'm like that on Facebook. I'm like that on Facebook dating. Yes, I have a profile there. I don't have high hopes. I have little hopes. And I'm trying to just enjoy the journey that being on that page gives me. We'll see what happens with that. But back to transparency. I don't know. I don't know if I'm old and I don't care about, taking 15 or 20 minutes to put on my face. I've done that in my life. When I was a junior in high school, I went to modeling school and I learned the whole shebang. I learned how to contour, and I learned, how to apply false eyelashes and, all of that good stuff. I guess I did it for a little while, but it really wasn't me. And that's important for me to be me. I don't want to put on lashes, and I don't want to put on so much makeup that you are like, wow, she looks awesome. But then when I wash it all off and remove it, you're like, oh crap, that's what she looks like. So it's like, no. My Facebook dating pictures are the same ones that you see on my Facebook. There's some with makeup, my birthday, baby shower, and then there's a lot without any makeup. It's like, this is me. Some man the other day, he was complimenting my eyes, and he's like, "Are those your real eyes?" And I couldn't help laughing, because it's like, as opposed to glass eyes, contacts, it's like, yeah, they're mine. I don't know. I just feel it's important for me to be me. That's why you come here, to hear me talk, or to hear my silliness or ridiculousness or whatever. I will always speak from my own brain, my own heart. I know that it would be easy for me to, Google inspirational quotes and things like that, and read them to you and tell them how they can apply to your life. But that's not me. I don't need to take things from someone else's brain and share them with you. You could find those things just as easily as I can find them. I don't see a point to that. Maybe sometime I will have a quote, I will have a Bible verse or something that's meaningful to me, and I will share it with you, but that would never be the focus of a vlog. I think this is about me expressing myself, not expressing someone else's words. So, I was going to say, if you want me to do that, I can record them and send them to you, but that would be just too much. I don't really have an interest in doing something for you that you could do for yourself. I told you I was going to find a therapist, and I did, and she's wonderful. I spoke with her for the first time. It was very tearful. My feelings about the trip to Cincinnati were very, very raw. Her question and the question of friends was, what will it take for you to feel at peace about all this? And I wasn't really sure. I spoke with a friend the day after I talked to my therapist. Again, it was very tearful. She was very honest with me about dating nowadays, about how this person had treated me. And she told me that it would be good for me to continue or start talking with other people again, nice men, because my self-esteem, my confidence, it was really a mess. I felt very bad. Why did I let this happen? What could I have done differently? How can I fix this? Will I get to say I'm sorry? All of those thoughts were running through my head. It was all me, my fault. I did this and it led to that. I said this and it led to that. And you know what? Women tend to do that. We take the blame for things that are not our fault. We try to fix things that maybe should be left alone. It's just, I think, the way that we're made. And sometimes we have to realize that it's okay to leave a mess, that we're just as important as the people we're trying to help, that we can't give and give to other people and start losing who we are. And I was willing to do that. I was willing to change my standards, lower my expectations about particular things. I didn't feel bad about making those decisions. But in retrospect, that was giving up me for someone else. I did my own version of exposure therapy. I went on to Facebook. I went to his page, and I started looking at the women, the new women, who were loving his pictures and things like that. Initially, I was jealous because I thought, wow, they're getting him when they're new. And when I was new, it was great. The first time I met him, oh my goodness, I wanted all my days to be like that. They weren't. The person I met in Raleigh was not the same person that I was with in Cincinnati. I don't know that I fault him for that because we were at his place, his children were there. I don't know. Or was it kind of a, that first time we met was the bait, then I was caught, then it was no need for all that other stuff. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Kind of bugs me because there are some questions I have that I would like answers to. I know I wouldn't like the answers. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. But anyway, I was looking at those pictures and I realized that I was not like those women. The language they used on their pages or the sexy pictures they posted, not me. I just told you about not wearing makeup. Oy, some of these ladies, geez Louise, just so much. I don't know, you could almost see these people crying out for attention. And I would look at people who liked these particular pictures or comments, and it was like men. And I don't know, do you really feel better about yourself if 100 men like a picture of your cleavage? I don't know. I'll never know because I'm not going to do that, right? I don't know what to tell you. I just felt like I was on a different level from these people that apparently liked him and that he must have liked in return. And I just thought, if this makes you happy, if you're content with this, then what the heck were you doing with me? Because this is not me. I don't want to say I'm better than anybody. I'm different than those women are. Um, Wholesome, plain. I don't know what you want to call me, but I'm I'm not those things. I don't need that kind of attention. I don't know. For as messed up as sometimes I might seem mentally or emotionally, I think I'm in a pretty good place. I think I'm pretty strong because I have a good sense of myself. I lost that a little bit while I was there. And I think, ladies, we really need to be careful about that. Giving and giving so much, because that's just who we are. We're caregivers, we're nurturers, we're people who want to smooth things over. It's good to give and give of yourself, but there has to be something you're getting back. Like if I gave and gave to that particular family, what was going to what was I going to get out of it? What was the positive for me? And at the time, I thought it was going to be being part of that family. There were 2 girls. He had 3 children, and I met his 2 daughters. When we were talking about even starting a relationship, the children were a concern of mine because, you know what, I am 65. They were young. And I had a concern about, when something happens to me, that would be awful for them to go through that because they had already lost their mom. But I prayed about it. I cried about it. I talked to him about it and was like, you know what? I can do that. I will give them the best of me for as long as I possibly can. And I had asked him not to tell them about me just in case things didn't work, but he didn't listen to me. So I saw their pictures. I talked to them on the phone. I heard about them, and I loved them before I even went to Cincinnati. And he told them about me, showed my pictures. And when I got there, they didn't want me to leave. They wanted me to be their dad's girlfriend. They wanted me to live with them. I said I couldn't, that I have family in North Carolina. And they said, okay, then we'll come to North Carolina. They asked their dad if they could. He said yes. He called me his wife. At one point, he called me his amazing wife. I don't even know what to say, and the kids heard that. He told them that I would homeschool them, which, of course, had things worked out differently, of course, I would have done all those things. So a lot of my emotion, a lot of my sadness, when that all didn't work out, was about the girls. I still feel love for those 3 people. I still wish that I could help them. I know that I was needed in their family. I know that the short time I was there, I made a difference. But that's not what it's all about. I can't be hurt or disrespected as I'm giving so much to someone else, and that's what happened. And I hope that maybe one day the girls will find a way to get in touch with me, and I'll know they're okay, or I'll know if there's anything that I can ever do for them, because they were sweet and I loved every minute with them. I'm getting emotional a little bit, and I'll try not to. Hopefully I left some positive impact on the girls, on their dad. That's all I can hope for at this point. So I'm speaking to the ladies now. Love hard, fix what you can, but don't lose yourself in the process. Feel free to cry. I talked about emotions in my last vlog. Let your feelings out, the happy ones, the crazy ones, the proud ones. I would say I jumped in the deep end with the Cincinnati family, with the Cincinnati dad, because that's what it felt right to do at the time. It just happened, and it's just how I felt. Um, I think I'll be a little more cautious next time. I was getting a little arrogant. I was getting so good at that jumping stuff, right? I'm not going to jump next time. I think I'm going to walk around the pool a little bit before I take that jump. I'm living a life very dependent upon my heart, literally and figuratively, right? Thank you for listening to me. I won't wait so long to talk again. I have some things that I want to share with you, and I'll be in touch soon. I hope you all stay well. I hope you all stay true to yourselves. Sometimes we have to lose ourselves a little bit to realize just who we are and what our value is. That happened to me. It was a hard lesson to learn, but it's a good lesson. Thank you for listening, and I love you all. Take care. I'll see you next time.